Do you remember this? The deep voice of the elder calling for the attention of the kids. Story, story. And the children respond in unison. Story. And the elder continues, once upon a time, with the children responding, time, time. Better still, in the indigenous language, it was a call to attentive listening to what was to come, a recounting of the past that teaches how to live life through connection with the land and the ancestors, allowing for experience to shape the present and construct the future in a dynamic of speaking, listening, and reflecting on the moral lesson of the story. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Indigenous Perspectives Rethinking Our Thinking with Edward Sandman Muge. Today, we will be going back in history to those beautiful nights under the starry skies, filled with the excitement as we wait to hear those interesting village stories and answer questions to show our understanding, and how we need to cultivate the lessons of the story in our lives as we look at indigenous storytelling. The value. Storytelling defines the cultural worldview of the indigenous people. Welcome back. Over time, indigenous peoples have lived their rituals, culture, tradition, as well as stories. Stories carry the words and deeds, an ancestral life in a recounting language that is beautiful to the memory, appealing to the heart, and inviting to the moral lessons of indigenous truth. Stories become the language of history that carries the people's identity, sacred journey, and impelling identity. They convey tradition, spirituality, morality, justice, ecological values, equality, as well as personal and interpersonal values. Stories belong to the community. Though recounted by individuals, they must be checked and cross-checked to verify their alignment with historical and traditional ancestral values. They are powerful means of sharing knowledge designed to bring people and communities to identify with and value their space, land, and the temporal character of their foundation. That is, teaching and living through experience. Stories are creative ways of teaching and remembering the past with present and future relevance. Storytelling is a sacred art of entering into the mystery of ancestral experience without which life is meaningless. The language of stories, as averred by Kathleen B. Curtis, is a means of cultural preservation. Stories teach language since they convey a people's history and experience. They ensure that a people's diverted social focus remains with the storied land. Stories express identity within the magic of language. The connection of stories and language implies the end of story and the disappearance of stories from the people's life marks the end of language. Storytelling as the powerhouse of indigenous documentation, transmission, and teaching of culture is meant for the stimulation of creative reflection. and participation of the community in the series of events leading to the formation of the people, sustenance of their life and identity, and continuous holding together of the fabric of society. Knowledge is a way of communion and connection that characterizes indigenous peoples' experience. Wisdom, good memory, character, and ancestral spiritual, social, and cultural values are embedded in those societies and are ascribed to its elders. Stories bring generations together into a conversation of life. Storytelling times, therefore, as teaching times, have been missed today. For the indigenous people, stories help to bring the truth out and reject the false narratives of stereotypes and racism. They are the experiential language of indigenous truth. Their commitment to memory allows for the retelling of the same story within the dynamic and evolving worldview of the people. Reconstruction of indigenous stories are not about distorting facts, but making them relevant to the inheritors of the revered traditions in ways that make sense to them today. In response to the listener's need for transformative learning, even indigenous fictions were constructed to meet certain expectations and outcomes in the lives of the people. Fictions as ways of conveying truth and not to be given less values in understanding indigenous culture. Thanks for joining Ancestral Heritage TV. Until next time, always remember that your identity is formed in your culture. Follow Ancestral Heritage TV at ancestral_heritage TV on YouTube, X, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and Thread. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment, and share this video. Goodbye.